This is HOA Today. HOA Today is brought to you by Zayuk. Zayuk is a smart property company. We provide infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and inspections for properties to understand their context, distribute information, have a storage location for all their information. We specialize in HOAs and condos, although we are continuing to other forms of property ownership within real estate. But our system for HOAs and condos provides voting, meeting, creates a repository for all this information, work orders, tickets, violations, connecting with rules, and creating digital threads for your vendors, for your residents, for your managers, for AI, frankly, as well. These digital threads allow people to understand the context and the history and what's going on in the property. So you as a property can provide quality ownership information that's becoming law and is becoming a big deal around the nation, as we'll talk about Utah passing a new office in a cheaper and more effective fashion. So we'll continue now. We usually go through current events, and we'll start with Utah. Utah unveils a new office to help with HOA disputes. HB 217 passed earlier this year to regulate homeowner associations. We'll review the Homeowners Association Ombudsman will review requests from either HOAs or their residents, then issue an opinion. The office will only deal with questions surrounding state law, not specific rules enforced by individual HOAs. This is through the newly created Office of the Homeowners Association Ombudsman. The focus here, quote, this is from the bill sponsor, Representative Neil Walter, Republican of St. George. Quote, the focus here is not to try and weigh in on whether your garbage cans can come in on time or what color your house is, unquote. Target things like financial disclosures, laws pertaining to political yard signs, or other matters related to Utah code. Office will also maintain a registry of all Utah HOAs and offer educational resources and training sessions. Looking to make a tangible difference. Aaron Ryder will lead the office. All HOAs must register with the office or face disciplinary action from the state that may include not being able to enforce liens against homeowners. So we've seen that registry also in Florida. Florida just passed a resolution to maintain a registry of their HOAs. Additionally, you saw the ombudsperson office being passed in Minnesota, where Minnesota is now deciding to create an ombudsperson to manage HOA disputes within their state. So we'll go through one more article about Utah and then move on. Through House Bill 217, Office of Homeowners Association Ombudsman was established, will serve as a neutral party to help resolve homeowner association issues and provide educational resources on boards and resident rights and responsibilities. Aaron Ryder, JD MBA, has been appointed as the office director and ombudsman to lead the office. Aaron has legal and legislative experience and extensive knowledge in corporate governance and public advocacy. The three primary functions are: 1, maintain new HOA registry, including new annual renewal requirement; 2, provide advisory opinions on questions of state law; 3, offer educational resources through its website and various training sessions. So we'll see how that works out over the next several years. So here's one article that happened here in San Diego. This is from the San Diego Union Tribune. HOA nixes proposal for Rancho Bernardo, Rancho Penasquitas Connector Street. A residential street that was proposed to provide a second emergency evacuation for Rancho Penasquitas residents through Rancho Bernardo will not happen. The Camino Bernardo HOA recently notified representatives from Lennar that it was unwilling to sell its land that would have made the connector street between Paymogo Way in Penasquitas and Passe Montanosa in Rancho Bernardo possible. Developer needed the grant in a right-of-way in order to proceed. About 75% of the 410 feet long and 48 feet wide would have been on land owned by the HOA. The plan was discussed at July 1 Rancho Bernardo Planning Board Development Review. Was controversial because the proposed street would create a shortcut between two communities separated by open space. Several people at the meeting said if the street was constructed and paid for by the home developer Lennar, hundreds of drivers would travel through the PQ cul-de-sac. The proposal was part of a 2023 private settlement among nonprofit organization PQ&E Action Group Lennar and Carmel Land LLC. PQ&E Action Group sued Lennar, which is building the Junipers, a 536 unit housing community at the corner of Penasquitas Drive and Carmel Mountain Road on the former Doubletree Golf Course. That's great. I mean, not that this is all occurring, but I do think that a 536 unit housing community in that area would be good. Many people understand that if you are an existing resident in an area, there's a lot of incentive to pass legislation not permitting more residencies, more housing in your surrounding area. Though that legislation has been powerful, and in the last several years here in California, we've seen other states increase the amount of building they have. Here in San Diego, we have decent building, but not like it was in Texas, and I've heard in other various states. And we have a housing shortage crisis, and it affects the prices here, makes affordability difficult, where people are pushing a lot of capital into owning real estate or renting, and the housing issue is something that should be addressed. But we'll continue going back to this. Highly against a thoroughfare going through our street, the Paymogo Street residents said at the July 1 meeting. Choose to live here because it's such a private, special place. PQ&E Action Group remains deeply concerned about ensuring safe and effective evacuation routes. So this is about creating a street for a second evacuation route. Again, East San Diego is Rancho Penasquitas is East San Diego-ish. Still in a highly flammable area. And having those evacuation routes makes a lot of sense. considering that area, considering the dry brush possible to accumulate. Let's go back. And at the moment, the plans show no connecting road. Settlement agreement between Lennar and PQ&E Action Group had 5 conditions. Roundabout at Kuka Street, Penasquitos Drive, increasing Juniper's project park size, planting 93 more trees on the Juniper site, and funding the purchase and placement of evacuation equipment storage sheds. Okay. Interesting. Let's continue. This is from OC Today Dispatch. Residents weigh legal action against HOA by Brian Shane. West Ocean City neighborhood fight over parking spaces has escalated into a bitter battle over short-term rentals. Residents now threatening to haul their homeowners association into court. Worcester County last month notified 16 owners in the landings at Bayside Community along Route 611 that their short-term rental licenses were being revoked because they were out of compliance with parking rules by not providing a third parking space to renters. Said original rental license had been issued in error by county staff. Two dozen residents from 15 households allege the conflict was the fault of the HOA. They said the board of directors created the problem when they raised the complaint with the county, allegedly as a way to target and weed out short-term rental properties. Homeowners purchase their properties with reasonable expectation. Short-term rentals have been an integral part of the community for 20 years. According to zoning code, for any unit to be rented on a short-term basis that's 28 days or fewer, it must provide an additional off-street parking space beyond the 2 required. Applies only to homes built after January 1, 2020. Wow, that's really interesting law. There must be a shortage of parking in that area. In Japan, I believe that you can't even purchase a car or own a car, I'm not sure, without a constant without a parking space, which is a great law if you've lived in an area that has a shortage of parking. And now owners are demanding a resolution. Okay, we'll continue. HOA and condo fees now top $500 a month for 3 million households. Homeowner association fee, 3 million facing hefty monthly charges of more than $500. HOAs are nonprofits. Condo associations also collect fees, but those are typically higher and go toward paying for shared services and building features. The high and growing share of homeowners associations subject to HOA fees is a result of the trend for newly built communities. That's true. HOAs, builders are increasing the amount of HOAs that they're building. It seems like it's not going away. The international community is growing as well, where you see various places, South America, the Middle East, Europe, that are getting involved with community association governance and the governance of decentralized asset ownership. It's a difficult set of protocols. It's really difficult. There's a lot of roughly 21.6 million of the 86.6 million US owners were in hook for paying condo fees last year. Most expensive states, DC, New York, medians of 739, 5 times more than the national median of 135. And that makes sense. Those areas have high rises. If you live in a high rise, you are going to pay more in an HOA fee. If you live in a single family home, frankly, you're the one taking care of your roofing, a lot of your amenities, such as if you have a pool, a sprinkler, there might be a clubhouse, there might be a park, there might be shared common spaces, a nature reserve, of course, landscaping and asphalt, sidewalks, security, many things as well. But the cost is going to be lower when you're not doing structural work, when you're not doing electrical work, when you're not doing roofing and stucco, all these very cost heavy things, which usually come with shared walls. Okay, we'll continue. Mortgaged versus non-mortgaged homes. New constructions revealed more than 40% for sale homes in 2024 came with HOA fees. 80% of new construction properties came with monthly levies payable to HOAs compared with 38% of existing homes. And I think existing homes are likely going to, well, we're seeing a more dense housing in the US. That's one thing we're seeing is higher density. We have to build up if you can't build horizontally. And that may be the reason. Also, I believe the structure fits well for builders. So let's ooh. Okay, we're good. Okay. Give me one moment. RV garage dispute sparks 2-year-long dispute between Jacksonville veteran and HOA. Retired Navy officer won a legal fight against his HOA, but says the battle is far from over. Built an RV garage in 2023 on Cliff Cottage Drive, claiming he had approval from Westland Communities Association. Duval County building permit. Duval County. Okay, so that's what. Okay, I didn't understand because I've seen the Jacksonville head coach say Duval, but I didn't understand that. Now I understand. The HOA reversed court month later. HOA reversed course, sending violation letters and threatening daily fines. This is one thing where Zayuk comes into play, and we're going to build out protocols for this because what that is, and the biggest issue here is communication. And this is why Zayuk has a digital twin, why we bring reality capture and 3D models into it, because that visualization is really important for you. When someone says that they want to do an RV, it's difficult to imagine. Or if they want to change a certain feature within the home, within the community, within the property, exterior feature, it's a little difficult to understand that. And so what we do have is the model, and we're going to be providing in the future some sort of input mechanism where people can actually generate some sort of 3D thing. You've seen that. I've seen that in various other AI features, and we're going to bring it in. I'm not sure when, and it's not going to be soon, but the point I'm trying to make is the visualization aspect of property is important, and that's why digital twin is important. Not just being able to see it, but being able to interact with it and distribute the information in a cost-effective way. Cost-effective way. Okay, we'll continue. And that's a huge thing that Zayuk prides itself on, is cost-effective information distribution that makes sense. That's the protocols that an HOA or condo would actually need. Rules, voting, meetings, RFPs, requests for proposals, contracts, all these different information protocols in an integrated fashion that actually makes sense together so that you get the full suite of items. Okay. We'll continue. Here we go. Company claims hackers stole $3 million from Metro HOA accounts. Alleged hacking scheme in Metro left nearly a dozen Oklahoma homeowners associations out of millions of dollars. That's huge. That's okay. Owner of Hopus Real Estate Services. The company managed the HOA accounts. The owner filed the report with the police in July. She started receiving texts on July 2. She said the messages were asking her to approve or deny changes to her account. Documents stated that the text messages started coming multiple times over a few days. Told police when she started receiving nonstop spam calls. On July 15th, Brown told police she received a phone call from her bank, First Citizens, and was asked if she made a wire transfer of large amounts of funds. Somehow, accounts linked to 10 HOA funds were accessed and funds were taken. Nearly $2 million was taken from, holy moly, this is crazy. Nearly $2 million was taken from Quail Springs HOA, $500,000 from the Meadow HOA, $230,000 from Springs at Greenleaf Trails, $130,000 from 6,000 Penn HOA, and several other homeowner association accounts were hit with smaller amounts. Probably the worst ones I've seen recently. That's the worst one. That's horrible. I've never heard of that. You hear about intentional issues with people at the top, whether that be the president or the board, but to hear a hack of that nature, which is what, over $3 million, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I'm sure more is going to come out on that. So far, no money has been recovered. That is a lot of capital. That's a lot of capital. Okay, and I actually skipped over the ending of that dispute between the veteran and the HOA, and we were talking about the trailer and whether the trailer was permitted and having a 3D visualization tool. And in August 2025, a Duval County judge ruled in the veteran's favor, ordering the HOA to stop enforcement and pay nearly $7,000 in attorney fees. Okay, great. Okay, here we go. This is by Twisted Sifter. Interesting name. Neighborhood HOA dissolves, but years later, former members are quote unquote still harassing the homeowners unquote. Imagine buying some articles are more in favor of the homeowner than the and demonize the HOA, which for some cases may be not as much demonization, but some cases there is demonization. The HOA didn't do a whole lot. Da da da. Okay, this is an article I actually have difficulty reading. So I am going to drop. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully, you all are having a good day. Happy Friday. And yeah, take care. Have a good weekend ahead of you. Don't live for the weekend.